Who could resist a plant like this? It's beautiful. It's colorful. I know just where I'm going to put it in my garden. You and I, we go to the nursery and we bring home plants, but have you ever stopped to wonder, how did those plants get there? I'm not talking about the trucks that bring them. I'm talking about the process. Many of the plants you find on the nursery bench started with a breeder who pollinated and cross-pollinated her plants until she got one that was just right. She sent that plant to a trial grower who evaluated it in his fields and greenhouses. Once it passed his tests, it went on to a propagator who made tens of thousands of cuttings that were sent to finished growers across the country, who grew the plants, then shipped them to the nursery so you could plant them in your garden. Each plant passes through many hands on its way to your garden. The process of bringing plants to market is competitive, it's complex, and it's fascinating. It's part science, part nature, and all business, as we'll see today on A Growing Passion. In traditional horticulture, new plants are often the result of breeding. It's one part art combined with one part science that results in plants that look, grow, produce, perform, maybe even smell a bit different from the parent plants. Plant breeding has been going on for eons, with just about every ornamental and crop plant, from wheat to tomatoes, agave to poinsettia. Ecke Ranch in Encinitas, California has a long history of breeding innovative, durable, and beautiful poinsettias like these, and the potential for future Ecke varieties is almost limitless. Ecke Ranch and other poinsettia breeders use conventional breeding techniques to coax new colors, new flower shapes, different sizes, and other characteristics from the DNA of native poinsettias, all in an effort to breed new and improved holiday plants. For the past 20 years, this work has been done under the direction of plant breeder Ruth Kobayashi.
This is just kind of a sample of, where you can go. Nature showed us it has different colors. And one of the seedlings that I found in my breeding program is this one.
It kind of looks like a space-age poinsettia.
It's a little open. It doesn't have a lot of show. Orange was a new color at the time. So crossing back to our red poinsettias, we can make something, much more beautiful and commercially accepted.
So these are the parents?
Yes.
And this is the offspring?
Yes.
And you've got the leaf shape and flower shape coming from here and the color coming from here?
Right.
It can take hundreds of crosses, literally tens of years, to find just one plant worthy of taking to market. Ruth does her work with simple tools and lots of patience.
Well, I'm doing what in nature bees normally do for us. I'm pollinating. So I'm taking the pollen, male part of the flower, and I'm transferring it to the female part, right here.
It's a very traditional approach to breeding. Greenhouse conditions are controlled to keep out birds and bees and wind. Ruth keeps careful track of her crosses. She pollinates the flowers, and 3 months later, she gets ripe seeds. These seeds represent the genetic variation of the parent plants, yet each will grow up to be a unique and distinctly different poinsettia. It's a lot like siblings. They come from the same DNA, yet no two are the same. For nature, this is a way of ensuring each species' long-term survival. For plant breeders, it's a source of endless possibilities. Ruth, what makes a good poinsettia?
Well, there are a lot of qualities that make a good poinsettia. A great poinsettia is really what we're after. It's the flower color, it's the foliage color, it's foliage retention, it's stem strength, it's keeping quality in the consumer's home. It's how well the plants can grow in greenhouse growers across the world. All of these qualities together is what makes a good poinsettia.
The way to find one great poinsettia is to breed thousands. Oh, wow, this is beautiful.
We probably have this year about 5,000 that I'm looking at today.
5,000? How many of these will make the cut?
Oh, less than 0.01% will actually end up in the marketplace.
What's going to happen to this one?
This one in particular is not going to make the cut.
This one isn't? But
No.
it's big and it's beautiful.
It has a lot of beauty, but it's too big.
Oh, and why is that a problem?
Well, most growers won't be able to control it easily enough, and so that's just not good enough.
It can take several years from pollination to production. But when that one new variety takes the market by storm, the effects ripple across the nursery industry. Ruth, this is so beautiful. What's the future of poinsettia breeding?
Well, the future is wherever our imagination will take us. I hope that we'll see new colors, new versions of red, new styles of red, flower forms you've never seen before. We'll throw in some grower traits, I'm sure.
And so what would that be?
Things that are more cold tolerant, more heat tolerant, more resistant to diseases, just making the plant more durable for growers and consumers.
Once a breeder develops a plant with potential, it's sent to growers to evaluate it for market. The testing includes field trials, often done by companies that specialize in testing new plants. One of these companies is Euro-American in Bonsall, California. Each year, Euro-American trials between 6,000 and 7,000 new plant varieties. Their location in northern San Diego County lends itself to testing a wide variety of plants.
We're in the Tuscany of San Diego County. This is Bonsall. Rolling hills, countryside, great light, and it's an excellent place to produce plants.
John Rader oversees Euro-American's team of horticulturists and marketing experts. They evaluate shrubs, grasses, annuals, succulents, and perennials under real-life indoor and outdoor conditions to decide which to add to their catalogs.
We live in a place that has greenhouse conditions almost year-round. So maybe half of that acreage is greenhouses and the rest of it is just full sun growing, which putting the touch of Mother Nature has come to be our fingerprint. So this is our wintertime flowering trial. And what we're doing here is we're finding the plants that flower even when it's cold out and the days are short.
Plants are evaluated for characteristics like the color and stability of their flowers, how big they grow, how fast they grow, how many weeks it takes for each to bloom, how it does with lots of water or little water.
This is our display of landscape use of succulents.
So is this a trial garden?
It is a test garden, but it's also an education garden so that our sales team and our customers can get to know what succulents can do. You know, we get the plants from a number of sources. We work very closely with private breeders, hobbyists. Sometimes they're just things that we've found in our own collections, or as we've traveled the world, we've seen things that are very unusual and interesting. So we're constantly looking for something that strikes our fancy because we can never be satisfied that we've arrived.
Trial plants are sent to Euro-American as cuttings, pieces of branches literally cut off a mother plant. The first step in the trialing process is getting those cuttings to root. That's the job of Adam Flint, Euro-American's research grower.
So in here we receive any cutting material that we receive from any breeders into Euro-American trials. Starts off in here. Part of the trial is actually rooting data. So I come out here and I look and see how the plants are rooting, and if they aren't performing well, then we discard them.
Since growers plant thousands, even millions of cuttings every year, Adam looks for varieties to root quickly and root well. Next, they're potted up and sent to the trial fields. Today, Adam shows me his outside hanging basket trials and explains how the plants are evaluated. All these hanging baskets. So tell me what you're trialing for. When you look at these, what are you going to evaluate them for?
Habit would be probably the first thing, as well as how much of the pot is it covering. Where these are hanging baskets, we want them to be hanging. We also look at the blooms. So when they're out in the sun, a lot of plants have a habit of they'll bleach in the sun. And so we want that to maintain the vibrancy as when it first appeared. And then the last thing that we do is we track how much time it takes to grow that plant. So that when a grower is growing the plants, they can kind of calculate out how long they need to be growing it before it's a sellable plant.
Each new variety is trialed several times, under different conditions and in different growing seasons, before John Rader and his team decide their ultimate fate.
The way that we replicate our trials is that we figure that we want to find out if the plant has longevity. I think that's one of the biggest things for the consumer. What we do is we figure on 3 different planting times. That way we get to see the performance of that plant through most of the growing seasons that a consumer might use it. We trial about 6,000–7,000 plants per year. I would say about only 150 make it to market.
Ooh, that's really pretty. Plant trialing is a process that can take years, but the plants that earn the highest marks continue on their way to commercial introduction. We're back at Euro-American to see how plants are propagated. This is where varieties that pass the test begin that journey to market. This is where the business of making plants kicks in by replicating them thousands of times. A clone, or a cultivar as they call it in the trade, is an identical copy of the parent plant. Having identical plants is important for consistency, so a variety always matures at the same height, blooms the same color, and grows the same way under the same conditions. Propagation starts with a mother plant. Propagators take cuttings from the plant, being careful not to cut off too much. Then they root the cuttings. One plant makes several plants. Several plants make many plants. Many plants soon make enough to take to market. It may not look like it, but this is a cloning factory. This is where that one perfect plant becomes several identical plants that become the mother stock for all the propagation. This one operation alone generates 75 million cuttings every year. Propagators like Euro-American clone all different kinds of plants. They purchase some of the mother plants from outside companies. Others are developed right here. This fuzzy plant is called Gomphrena pink zazzle. It's a Euro-American exclusive. That means that anywhere you see this plant in a nursery in North America, that little plant started its life right here. The mother plants are the company's raw materials and one of their most valuable assets. They're carefully protected in a controlled environment to keep out bacteria, viruses, and other contaminants. Cuttings are taken to a nearby greenhouse where they're planted in a planting assembly line. See all these women so hard at work. This is where your plants come from. Today, workers are planting cuttings that were flown in just yesterday from Costa Rica. Planting happens from January through December. Over the course of the year, more than 2,500 different varieties of plants are propagated right here on this line. This is what I like to see. Lots and lots and lots and lots of cuttings. Tom Foley is Executive Manager of Operations at Euro-American. Tom showed me around the propagation greenhouses.
When we're trialing and evaluating products, we try for the beauty of the plant, but also for the performance in the propagation facility. We want plants that are relatively uniform, easy to root, and grow on and are very consistent. And that's very important for our customers And it's also important for consumers so that we can have beautiful plants that we can grow in quantities so that they can enjoy them as well.
You know, what amazes me is you can have a little cutting just this big, and it'll be a big plant, right?
Absolutely. This is one of the reasons I went into horticulture. It's just fascinating to be able to take a small cutting like that, put it in a container, and in just a few weeks, this is going to be in somebody's backyard, and they're going to be enjoying it all summer.
So what are the cuttings in? What are these?
So they're in a little bit of peat moss, a little bit of perlite, wrapped in paper, just as you can see there. And then we'll stick the cutting in there, and they'll root, and within a few days, we're going to see roots on the edge of this pot. And then we'll be shipping this to our customers in a few weeks.
That's pretty amazing. And I take it that, you know, if I were to do this at home, I would worry about them wilting and then, of course, dying. But I guess that's part of what the whole humidity is, right? It keeps the moisture in?
That's correct. I mean, with the higher humidity, that helps keep the leaf and the foliage and the stems hydrated while they're trying to put their roots on. A plant takes up all of its nutrients and its water primarily out of the ground. And without roots, that's where the plant could dry up. And so it just needs a little bit of humidity for just a couple of weeks until it roots, and then we can put them outside where we've got beautiful sunlight, cool nights, sunny days, and helps the plants acclimate and become much hardened off and perform much better. So after the plants are starting to root, we like to bring them out into this house to help them tone up, get acclimated so that when they go outside to our customer, they're going to be a really great growing plant and finish quickly for our customer.
So these are all pretty much rooted then?
Sure. So this tray right here is fully rooted. You can see the roots on the plant. And these plants are going to be shipping to our customers this weekend. So this will be in somebody's backyard probably in 4 or 5 weeks.
Soon, rooted cuttings are ready to grow. But there's still more to this story. The next stop is the finished grower. We're at Armstrong Growers in Fallbrook, California. Here, the newly rooted cuttings develop into the big, filled-out plants you find in your local nursery. This is a full-on manufacturing process where the products are live and perishable. Thousands of rooted cuttings are potted each week, millions every year. They grow here for weeks or months in the greenhouses in the fields until they're ready to be shipped to the nursery. This is not your grandmother's coleus. How many plants are you guys producing every year?
Well, we have 100 acres here in Fallbrook, and we produce about 1.4 million gallons a year.
1.4 million.
Yeah, of these gallon pots a year.
Wow, that's a lot of plants.
It is a lot of plants.
Michelle, explain to me what a finished grower is.
Well, we'll start with either a liner or the unrooted cutting. We'll grow it out, and we'll put it into our final container. That could be from a 4-inch pot, a 6-inch pot, a gallon can, all the way up to a 10-inch pot. We'll finish it and we'll send it off to the consumer as soon as it's done. It could go to a retail nursery, it could go to an amusement park, it could go to a landscaper. Lots of different people can buy the product.
So the nurseries aren't growing them, you are.
We're growing them.
Here, the breeders' painstaking efforts and the work of the trial growers all pay off. Finished growers produce thousands of plants on a careful schedule. They know exactly how long each variety takes to root, to grow, to fill out its pot, and to be ready to flower. What kind of plants are these, Heather?
These are calanchas.
And why are they in here?
They need to be faked into thinking that the nights are longer in order to flower. So they go in here where they get 14 hours of darkness as opposed to whatever the natural night length is right now.
So that'll make them bloom?
Exactly.
So how old are they when they come in here?
They are about 5 weeks old. We start them in the house next door in a 4-inch pot, and then we bring them in here to finish.
How long are they here?
About 11 weeks.
And then where do they go? What happens?
They go directly to the garden centers after that, in full bloom, half bloom, quarter bloom, just whatever the customers need.
Every step of finished growing happens according to a timetable. Michelle, are these plants ready to go?
Pretty close. They've got maybe another couple of weeks on them.
They're beautiful geraniums. How do you schedule this? It sounds like everything's really scheduled very carefully.
Yeah, it has to be for us to hit our market.
And that means what?
Well, we'll start with our sell date, and then we back it up from there.
So that's the date you want to sell it to the nursery.
Correct.
So how far back do you have to go?
Well, we'll add in our field time in the nursery, and then we have to add in our young plant time, whether we buy an unrooted cutting or a rooted young plant.
So you have to buy it you buy the little plant from someone, and then you have to root it and then grow it, and then you sell it to the nursery.
Right.
So that sounds like manufacturing to me.
It's a very good way of looking at it.
Except your product can die.
Yeah, it has at times a very short window.
Is it always the same length in the growing process?
No, you know, certain times of year, the crops have very different times. We can go from a 6-week crop to a 12-week crop for the same plant.
What makes the difference?
It could be the time of year, summer or winter, and it could be the environment we're growing it. Outdoors, indoors, heated house.
It's much more complicated than I'd expected.
It's very complicated.
Economies of scale are what make finish growing a profitable business. And what works for the tender greenhouse plants also works for the tougher landscape plants. And what else is here?
We've got a lot of different grasses. You can see different colors and textures of the different grasses. So look at this one, Nan.
This is a Dianella, right?
Yeah, Dianella Destiny.
That's a new one to me. I love the variegation. Look
Isn't
at
it
that.
so beautiful?
Yep. Like businesses across the industry, Armstrong and other finish growers carefully track consumer trends.
Well, this is our area where we grow a lot of our landscape crops.
They look to me like they're pretty low water. Is that right?
With our recent weather changes and the climate that we're going into, we found it really important to diversify our crop. Our product line, we're really expanding it.
What else do you do to be a little more sustainable within your practices?
One thing we do is we have our plastic for certain containers, our 4-inch pot and our color packs is made from 100% recycled water bottle. We've actually protected 20 million water bottles going into landfills. Also in Fallbrook, we recapture 100% of our runoff water, and then we blend it back in with city to re-irrigate our plants.
So everything, all the water stays on site.
Yeah, it does.
As plants are ready for market, the crew gently packs and loads them into big semi-trucks for their journey to nursery and garden centers across the West. The process of bringing a plant to market is an amazing journey through many hands, from the imagination of the breeder to the rigorous standards of the trial grower, to the factory-like output of the propagators and the finish growers. There's just one more stop for these plants, and it might be the most important stop of all. Finally, we're in the nursery, the plant's final destination before going home with you. This is the ultimate test for every new variety. Will the gardeners buy it? How big is this nursery?
It's about 7 acres, Nan.
Wow,
Yeah,
no
it's
wonder,
big.
because you guys have such an incredible variety. Ron Vanderhoff is general manager of Rogers Gardens in Newport Beach, California. Ron fills the nursery shelves with plants from the finished grower. How many new varieties do you think you bring in a year?
Oh, hundreds, at least hundreds. Gardening and plant introductions are happening at record paces, and every week there's a few new things.
Ron, how do you decide what new varieties to bring into the nursery?
Well, it's all about trying to predict what the customer wants and trying to be sometimes several months or a year out in front of that because it takes that long to produce a plant. Really popular right now is low water plants. Because of our drought right now in California, people are trying to conserve water in their gardens.
You know what I love about right here is the smell. What am I smelling?
Oh, you're smelling California.
Oh,
These are our
yeah.
native plants. So
Oh,
you've
the
got
salvias.
Cleveland sages here, and you've got California lilacs right here. This is California right here.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, this is what's popular right now?
It's becoming more and more popular. People are trying to understand where they live finally and using some of the native plants.
Whether it's native or exotic, annual or perennial, species or hybrid, each plant takes an amazing journey on its way to a nursery near you. You can find all kinds of plants in the nursery, every one of which has undergone intense scrutiny and pass through many hands long before it makes it to the nursery bench. And also you and I can have something new to plant in our gardens. I know where these babies are going. I'm Nan Sterman. Thanks for watching.